Hey everybody. Thank you for joining us. This is 3 of Skeins and Crochet podcast number 82. Or 3.
I don't know. I was doing really well for a while and then I lost track of
I'll figure it out and it'll be correct in the thingy.
It's the 80.
In the doobly-doo. I'm Lisa.
I'm Cryss.
Thanks for joining us. So Crystal, what are we talking about today? Do you want to go first or shall I? You have more than I do, so
I don't think I have more, but I showed y'all some yarn last week. And I told you I was trying to do this t-shirt over again. And I tried it at DK Weight and I wasn't happy with it. So I ordered some fingering weight yarn. So now I've done a swatch. So that's all that's moved on that front. But I did want to show my swatch because it's really pretty. So this yarn is Lena, it was actually Tin Lena from Satin to Skeins. And it is cotton, viscose, and linen.
I'm so mad you have not cut that swatch off.
You don't leave me alone. Look at this.
Look, oh my
God.
God.
I did like a faux cable with post stitches, and it feels beautiful. It moves beautifully. It is all the things, and it's exactly what I wanted for my t-shirt.
Did you go with the single crochet background?
Yes I did, and I still have a lot of flexibility in the fabric.
So you just needed thinner yarn overall.
Yeah, this is gonna be my t-shirt now.
So what size hook did you go with?
3mm. I personally think 3mm is almost like the ideal hook size for fingering weight yarn. But I don't always go down that small. But I was like, you know what? You really like the 3mm hook, so just go ahead, and I think it looks amazing.
That way you only had to swatch that one time.
Yeah. Well, technically this is my 4th swatch with this shirt because I tried 3 other yarns, but I only had to swatch once in this yarn. But this is definitely what I'll be using for the t-shirt.
That's what people don't, that's the part people don't see though. We see that beautifully finished shirt, but do the 3 other swatches still exist?
At least one.
But sometimes you swatch and you swatch and you swatch until you finally hit that fabric and you're like, yes, that's exactly how I want it to be.
So, but the t-shirt is my next project because I'm working on something else right now.
All right. I am weirdly only working on one project right now actively.
And making all the progress.
Much of the progress. I'm working on my shape lace tee. I'm just gonna go with that because I can never remember the name that they gave it when the pattern hit Ravelry. So this is the beginning of the front of the t-shirt. I know it looks like nothing right now, but this is actually the bottom hem.
And it's gonna look almost exactly like the back.
Yeah,
the next shape.
The front is scooped a bit more. And I have the back all finished. I even wove in my ends. I was feeling myself that day. So I wove in the ends and everything. So this back is absolutely positively complete. And I put a picture of the back pinned onto me in last week's episode. So I'll put a link to that if you want to see what the back looks like on. Because I'm trying to fit it as I go. And that way I don't find out that something's off in the fit when everything's finished. It was so funny, Mom and I were talking about that the other day, that sometimes, especially on a sweater or a top that you have to sew together, it makes me so mad to have to pick it out first and then unravel it. It feels like just unraveling is better somehow. It's not any better, really.
It's really
but it feels like adding insult to injury when you have to cut it apart and then unravel it. So I like to fit as I go. The major change that I made to this, because this is an old pattern. It's a pattern from a book called Knitting Lingerie Style from way back in 2007, 2008. Days of yore, yes. So I'm not using the yarn that they called for. And mine is different in gauge. So what I ended up having to do was add 1 repeat to the width of the shirt to get my gauge to work exactly the same way. So that's where I'm at right now. Once I get this part finished, and I'm hoping to get this whole part knit up in over the next couple of weeks, I will be just building my own sleeve, because then I'll have the complete arm side to measure.
Right.
Yeah, that's what's going on with that. I put a lifeline in just in case anything goes awry, and it'll give me a good place to measure from, because some of this is like, oh, just knit for 7 inches or whatever.
Right.
That's all I got.
Well, I showed you all my swatch previously. This is my linen swatch. Oh, she's pretty.
Oh, she is pretty.
I love the shells. So I don't know if I mentioned that stitch pattern came from this book. It's just called 300 Crochet Patterns Book 300. That's like the only English because it's actually a Japanese stitch dictionary, and it's actually the Chinese translation of a Japanese stitch dictionary. Just go with it, y'all. But it's all stitch diagrams, so you don't really need much in the way of words. But this was stitch pattern 171. You can't see it all, but oh wait, there you go.
There you go.
Ah, so that's what I'm using, and I have started my dress. So I have, this is, I'm working from the bottom up, and it's just going to be a straight up t-shirt dress. So there's going to be no shape. It's going to be straight up and down. And this is what I have so far. Oh, it is so pretty.
I love that.
But yeah, it's just going to go straight up, and I love the white. I think white linen for summer is just the be all end all. So
is that 100% linen?
Yes. So this is the flax lace from Universal that sadly has been discontinued. They still have the DK weight version. Okay. But the lace weight version has been discontinued. Whatever's left, you can find on Premier Yarn's website. But I have this in 3 colors, and
yeah. Come on now.
I can't. I'm so. Oh my god.
That screams something.
And I'm using a 2.75 millimeter hook.
Yeah.
But this, because it's lacy, it's actually going fairly quickly.
Yeah.
Because I had to do some ripping out because I measured my swatch and then didn't trust the measurements I got, so it made it smaller for no reason at all. And guess what? It was too small. So I had to rip out what I had done and started over. So all of that I did yesterday.
Oh wow. Okay. So
it's gonna go fairly quick. I mean, it's quickly. It's lace weight and 2.75 millimeter hook.
Yeah.
Go,
about that quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm not worried. I have the stitch pattern memorized now, so I don't need the book anymore. And
see, that's when it gets good. Yeah.
It's just so much more convenient, and it's gonna look really good when it's been ironed because the swatch has been ironed and it looks amazing. So I can't wait. I can't wait to wear my dress.
So what can you tell people who say their hands hurt when they work in linen?
I don't know. because
we're both working in a linen. You're working 100% linen. I'm working in a linen blend, and I can say positively, I have no hand pain behind linen.
I tension weirdly. I tension the way Irma tensions her yarn. So when I am stitching, I tend to hold my yarn really, really close. So this is the only part that gets pulled taut, right? I don't have like yarn wrapped through my fingers or anything. And so the only place other than the fabric itself where my hand has contact with the yarn is what's running under my fingers here because I kind of hold it next to the fabric. So there's no pull against my hand from the yarn itself. Yeah. So maybe you want to tension shorter, a little bit closer to your hook. I don't know if that would help, but I don't experience any hand pain from working with linen. This is my first time working with 100% linen, and it is lace weight. It's very, very fine. So I don't know if that plays into it.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see, when I work with DK weight, because I do have some of the DK. But other than that, I don't know what else to suggest.
I'm gonna see if I can tell you what I do, because this is DK weight, and I do wrap the yarn around my hand, but I am a continental style knitter, so I'm holding the yarn in my left hand. Oh, my lifeline's getting all tied up. I left it too long. Oh. But once again, I'm not pulling on the yarn. I have it flowing through my fingers like this. And also I am holding it fairly short, because linen is not like wool. If you wrap it and pull it tight, I imagine you will get hand pain, because unconsciously we're pulling. And since wool stretches, it's really not a problem. But this linen blend, this is a cotton linen viscose blend, this is not going to stretch at all. So as I'm knitting, the yarn is really just flowing through my hand.
Yeah, so I just try and hold it a little bit more loosely, I think.
Yeah.
But I have no hand pain at all from working with the linen.
No, me neither.
Is it just linen? If you have hand pain from working with linen, is it just linen, or you find any yarn that doesn't stretch, you also have the hand pain? So like if you work with silk or cotton, are you also having hand pain, or is it just linen? Let me know, because the first time I heard that, I didn't know what the person was talking about.
Right.
So that it's really new for me, this idea of linen hurting your hand when you're working with it. So I really don't know what's causing it.
I've heard it with both cotton and linen.
Really?
But I've never had the issue, because, and you know what, I could have had a head start too, because I'm a loose knitter to begin with. So I don't really hold any of the yarn all that tight. But if you are a tighter tensioner, yeah, I imagine, because just doing this to keep the yarn taut like that is going to cause you some issues.
Yeah, but no, it's been a pleasure to work with. Actually,
it's cool to the touch.
I love the yarn.
Yeah,
I don't find that linen feels rough. People think that. To me, it feels
smooth.
It
feels smooth to me. To me, it has a cool, smooth hand, so that even as I'm working it, it feels cool in my hand.
I am so excited to be working with like 100% linen right now.
So y'all know I just finished my weekender, like, I don't know, a month ago. And towards the end there, working with all that worsted weight wool in my lap.
In May,
when it was starting to get hot, it was hot. It was noticeable how hot it was to work with. Especially once I picked up this cool, comfy cotton and viscose and linen situation. So yeah, definitely, if you haven't tried.
I enjoy my switch to summer yarns.
Yeah,
every
me
year.
too. I love it. I absolutely love it. If you want to try it, let cotton be your gateway drug, and then move on to linen, and then the blends, and then the silk. Yes, I'm checking the list, because I can't keep anything in my head. It's like, it's a sieve. It's an absolute sieve. Oh, I don't know if everybody knows, I was teaching at Vogue Knitting Summer Vogue, Virtual Vogue last week. This is the first time that Vogue has done recorded classes that you can stream anytime you want to. And up until June 25th, you can purchase discounted class packages and individual classes. I will have a link down in the description bar. Yeah, down there. down there. Description bar. And I have done a blog post to give some tips and insights about how to really get the most out of a virtual class, because I know people are a little, put off by taking virtual classes, but I took one of my classes so far at Vogue. I signed up for 2, but my schedule changed, so I'm actually going to be doing my second class recorded. I'm hoping I'll get to that tonight, probably tomorrow morning, really though. So I just thought about things you can do to really make the class work for you. Stuff like, I'm just gonna, whatever stuck in my head, so you're gonna get a little out of order. Check out the blog post. It will be the link will be in the description bar below too, but do the homework. Read through the class description, see what they want you to have your supplies ready. If you do that a few days ahead of time, you don't have to be like me and run upstairs at the last possible second. Create a space for yourself to work. And then during the class, really ask questions and, get as much, especially if you don't understand something, the teacher will go back to it and they will have all sorts of different ways where they can help you get to where you need to be in the class. And then the nice thing with online classes too is that there's an after period where, like with Vo, you can restream the class if there was something that you felt like you missed. And there are all kinds of forums and YouTube videos and things that are usually connected to the class in one way or another, or at least on the same subject, so you can get it again from another perspective. So I enjoyed the class I took. I took Designing with Pixels because I have a duck sweater coming up, and it gave me all kinds of ideas for how to really make this duck sweater sing. Anyway, that's my little public service announcements for that.
And which class did you teach if they wanted to do that one?
If you want to try my class, I taught Sweater Savvy, making a first sweater that fits. Oh, you want to see the list?
What does the list say?
Okay, the list says, let's talk. Did you talk about your dress? Just talk about the
dress and the t-shirt.
Oh, go us. Oh, we are zipping through this today. Wow.
I can't.
Anyway, we did have one thing I wanted to talk about. I answered one of Gigi Made It's questions this weekend, and she asked, what do you keep in your knitting bag, really, while you're actually working on a project? And it really started to make me think, because I think I have finally perfected my knitting accoutrement. Because sometimes I will use things inappropriately because I don't feel like getting up, because all my stuff is in my lap and around me. I've measured with less than the best things, and I have, yeah.
What do you measure with?
Sometimes I have this little ruler in my pencil case, but it's only 6 inches long. So if I want to measure something that's longer than 6 inches, I might have to put it together a few times. Yeah. That's not the most accurate way to measure things. Mm-hmm. No. I found out that you can use hairpins to lock knitting together because I didn't feel like getting up and I had a hairpin in my hair. I'm just saying, sometimes we improvise. Bootleg. Yes, I bootleg a little bit. Okay. But I have finally done it, I think. So here's my project bag, and in my project bag, I try to keep everything I'm gonna need for that project, right? And have you ever just I need one stitch marker right now, and I don't have any, although I own millions of stitch markers?
Oh no, and you can always find one on the floor.
Yeah, you can find one under the couch. If you look under the couch, you might find one. Sometimes in the driveway. Sometimes in the driveway. I found one. There's that one.
Still there after the snow melted.
Yeah. So now I keep this Altoids tin in my project bag, and it's just a tin of many things. It's for tightening up or loosening interchangeable needles. Yes, makes all the difference in the world. So
it takes a lot of stuff, man.
I have this. I have an extra needle just in case. This is a cable needle because they come in handy sometimes. And every sort of stitch marker you can think of. Because sometimes I need a stitch marker right now. And that's the one time the floor has nothing to say to me. I just keep a rubber band about it because I'm not particularly careful with this bag. A spool of sewing thread that I use for lifelines, etc. I might even actually sew something with it. Imagine that. What else is in here? My knit kit. I've had this one for years. They don't look like this anymore. Now they look like,
I haven't seen the new ones.
they look like paws now. It has like 3 little heads. Yeah, it's cute. It looks like a big old paw. But this is like, for the most part, just about everything I need. I actually keep 1 or 2 stitch markers in here. The tapestry needle. It came with a scissor.
Just the needle sizes.
Yeah, because I've had some experiences. The needle sizer is actually quite helpful. The only thing is, this is about, I don't know, I would say 5 years old now, and the retractable thing.
That's why I gave up retractable tape measures.
Yeah, the retractable tape measure broke.
It looks like a little sweater.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah. So I can't get it out. I had a big stitch marker attached to the end, so it couldn't go all the way in, and it finally broke through that, and it went all the way in, and that was the end of that. So now I just keep a tape measure in the bag. But I find, and the last thing I always have, my reading glasses, a pencil, and that's pretty much it. And so far, I haven't been in that position where I'm like, I really don't want to get up. I'm at a pivotal moment. So what do you keep in your project?
Really, just the basics. Now, I have a case that I have like all my hooks, and then I have like the scissors and needles and things like that. But the case, has a zipper, and I didn't want to put it in the bag with my yarn. So I just took my essentials out and put it in here. So I just have, this is my tape measure. I just keep it rolled up in there.
Oh, that's cool.
And these are my stitch markers. Also, I have a little Altoid pin. And then my little scissors.
Yeah.
I also, I try to, I don't have any in here right now, keep at least Post-it notes.
Yeah.
Because I make changes, or sometimes I have to do quick math. So I like to have my phone with me, actually, because I have my little calculator on my phone. And I can, if I have to figure out, my stitches per inch or anything like that, I like to have my phone with me.
I keep this, and it's just got index cards, and as you can see, I have whatever notes I need to make real quick. These are for notes that I don't intend to keep. If I just need to write down, 22 stitches or what have you.
But what I don't believe that I need to is have like an official place to write down everything about each project as I'm working on it.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to get into that habit, because what the problem is, I'm just not making the time to do the writing.
Right.
Because I start, I make my swatch, and then I'm like, phew, and I want to take off.
With you, sometimes the swatch don't even survive. Well, I usually have my notebook with me at hand all the time, and this notebook will have a page, pages dedicated to each project, and I try as I go. That's why only throwaway notes go on the index cards, because I can't keep up with loose pieces of paper. But yeah, real notes that I might need to refer back to again will go here. So because I probably won't lose the entire book. Probably.
But yeah, I don't have anything out of the ordinary.
No, me neither. For me, the innovation was having it all together in one place, so I don't have to stop and go hunting for whatever it happens to be, because I guarantee you have a million of them, but you won't be able to find it because you need it right now.
And that's another reason I like to work on one project at a time, because everything I need is in the bag with that project. If I'm working on multiple projects, I will have to switch bags, finding my tape measure over here and my scissors over there, each time I sit down to work. So having just one designated bag in one project has also, helped me stay organized.
Yeah.
You said but you don't do that.
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
I'm working.
That would be nice. Yeah.
But what I do is is I will have whatever items that I need to work on each project with that project.
But do you have multiple tape measures?
I do. I have multiple tape measures.
Yeah, no. I can't keep up with too many little things.
I have multiple tape measures. I have, a couple of pairs of scissors, so that type of thing. And I have approximately 10 million stitch markers. That type of thing I keep, its own kit. And the only bad thing about that is that if you don't dismantle the kit after you finish the project, you'll have some of your stuff here, some of your stuff there, some of your stuff there. Don't ask me how I know. You know, a little birdie might have told me that it could work out that way. But I have also subsequently started to dismantle each kit and put everything away as I finish right away. Otherwise, promotion in doubt.
But I think the important thing is to just figure out what you need for your project and collect it.
Yeah, have a
So
system.
even if you put all the small things in their own little bag and then just transfer that bag from one project bag to the next. Just have all your stuff, because Mom, our third Skeins, she does not keep all her stuff together like that. So she's like, you have a stitch marker handy? You have a tape? You have scissors? I'm like, Mom, where's your project bag? And she'll be like, in my room.
In my room.
But she's in the living room.
Yeah, I'm not going in there at this moment though.
So it really is very convenient. It was a practice that I had to like learn and acquire to keep all of my things together.
Me too, actually, because
I just get so I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is.
It's like I get hyper focused.
And it's just like all I think about is just like making the next stitch.
Yeah, I want to do this now. I don't want to do anything else. I totally get where you're coming from, okay? Because that's it.
And that's, I think, another good thing that I've discovered about designing my own things. It makes me stop. Before I touch the yarn, it makes me stop and start looking at the numbers and planning things out just a little bit better as opposed to just, because if you just have blind faith in your pattern, you're just off at the races. And so now I can anticipate some problems that I might have. I just learned how to figure out how much yarn I'm going to need for a project. So for my t-shirt, I was able to adjust the size before I started.
Ooh.
Because I knew that the size I was planning, I wasn't going to have enough yarn. So I am starting to slow down a little bit.
Yeah. It's not
But
like
I still just
in the excitement of the moment, you know, you just
end
want
up
to go.
crocheting until, you know, my arm's about to fall off.
You know what? We're going to have to talk about how to figure out how much yarn you think you're going to need for a project.
I think my method,
because
I think I got the math.
I'm going to need to do a consult with you because I have a skirt I'm planning. And, you know, my yarn has no relationship to the yarn in the book. So I would like to figure out how much yarn
You're very wedded to patterns, but not the yarn they suggest.
No, not at all.
Like,
not
whatever.
Like, whatever, honey. Whatever. But it just frees you up. I don't necessarily want to start a project from zero. I do like having the infrastructure of the pattern built out already. But other than that, it's like I follow a pattern the way I follow a recipe. You know how I follow a recipe.
Yeah. Very loosely. Very, very, very loosely.
It's a guideline.
It's a set of instructions. You
It's
follow
not
them.
set in cement.
A and B and C.
Or
Q and 7 and blue.
yes. Yes, if Q7 and blue can take the place of A, B, and C, there you have it.
I don't think that's a thing, but okay.
You know. But once you have gotten that taste of freedom, it's like when you first stepped off from using patterns, you were like, whoo. It was scary, but heady.
When I was still using patterns, I used to always photocopy my patterns. So I hated carrying the book around with me.
Yeah.
So I always photocopied my patterns and just had that paper with me, and then I would make notes on like the backs of the pages and stuff. So I prefer to have a photocopy of my patterns.
I generally do too. I prefer to just have a few sheets of paper, but okay, I have an idiosyncrasy, and you're gonna laugh when I say this.
Probably.
Yes, but you know how when you put your book down on the top of the copier, sometimes it copies curved?
Yeah, you have to press it down.
I do press it down, but it still copies curved, and I hate it. I feel like I'm doing this when I don't like it, so I'm actually working for this big crazy book. And yeah,
But you can really press it flat.
I've never been able to press it flat enough for me. I even tried scanning it with my phone, and I still get that curvature. Yeah. It's an idiosyncrasy.
I did not know about this.
I know you didn't. I don't tell people about this. It's just you, me, and all our friends.
You have an issue with copy curve.
I have an issue with copy curve. I really hate copy
I have
curve.
no such issue with copy curve as long as I can see all the words. Like sometimes, the part that's on the curve, the words will like spread out a little bit. I ignore that. Like that's not an issue for me at all.
Drives me a little bit crazy.
But I do, make an effort to push the page flat. But you can also try to adjust the way, because there's going to be a margin where the book curves. So you can try to adjust it so that you have as little of that margin visible as possible, because then you won't see the curve.
I'll play with that.
But
copy curve troubles me greatly.
Okay.
I told you, it was going to be, I have a little issue. Okay? We all have our little issues. Anyways, moving on from copy curve. And I did not write in the book, and I usually annotate my books, but it also has, okay, here's my other paper problem.
Oh.
It also has glossy pages and the ink smears. So I made notes in my notebook. That smears too over time, and I don't like smearing. Pencil will drift across the whole page.
So you want the book pristine, but you can't make copies.
Correct. I've been taking notes where needed.
Okay.
You know what? I'm not even going to go into this with you right now. They always tease me because they said that when I use a book, it looks like it hasn't been used. And there's
she read a
reasons
whole
for that.
novel and not crack the spine. I don't know how she's doing that. I'm on page 7 and my thing's like... But, yeah, so you do have to crack the spine if you want to get rid of copy curve.
I'm cracking. The spine is cracked. The spine, look, the end paper is beat up.
That's a dust jacket, honey.
The spine is cracked, look.
So you should have hardly no copy curve.
Anyway.
You are very highly sensitive to it.
I am. Anyway, moving away from my idiosyncrasies around paper. You got anything else today, Cryss?
Nah. I'm still processing.
Oh, would you guys share with us what you keep in your project bags to actually work on your projects? I'd be really interested to know. That way I can see if I need to beef up my kit. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see you next week.
Stay stitching.
Bye-bye.